Welcome back to this course. We continue from where we left the last time. In my last class, we were referring to the various types of crystal lattices, and importantly, those ones which are most commonly found in many of the metals that you use for our engineering application. This was the slide which we were referring to in my last discussion, where we are referring to that what happens in the case of FCC lattice, that what is the arrangement of planes. So in a FCC lattice, the stacking sequence, if we have seen, happens to be A, B and C stacking sequence, and this discussion told me that okay, this is the A plane of atoms, the the other one is the B plane of atoms, and this happens to be the C plane of atoms. We explained this concept with the help of this diagram also, and we have seen that further we have seen that the packing of atoms in the planes was different. And what else I got is that the close pack planes, if you remember them as the A set of planes, the B set of planes and the C set of planes, this planes A, B, C are actually perpendicular to the body diagonal. So we understand that they actually happen to be perpendicular to the body diagonal here. This will have a large ramification on once we go to the discussion about the Miller indices of directions and planes, and then we will refer to that what is the significance of closed pack planes. Right now we are saying that the planes that you see here are having different packing density. What I mean by that, if you recall that if you look at the front face of this cube, the atoms are arranged something like this. Here. And when you look at this inclined plane, the atoms are arranged in a different here like this. So this is the arrangement of atoms as far as maybe your A set of planes is concerned, and this is the arrangement of atoms when you look at the front face of this cube. Clearly we observe here that the packing density happens to be different, and we will see that how do you name that as. We have already seen that the packing density is different along directions also. What we mean by that if you recall this, the packing density along the directions was also different, and the meaning of this happens to be that if you look about this direction here, or we should talk about this direction here, the atoms are arranged in different fashion. That means this happens to be a close pack direction, because we have seen that in this particular case of FCC or a CCP system, the atoms along the face diagonal, they are touching each other. And here the corner atoms are not touching each other. So this is not to a scale diagram. So what we intend to understand is that the atoms are not packed by the same configuration in all the directions and planes. They have different packing densities as far as your different planes are concerned, or as far as your even different directions are concerned. And what will be the effect of this, that we will see in our discussions later, that what is the effect of this onto the properties of the materials. We have already seen that this may influence the stiffness, because you have different directions, and the interatomic spacing along different directions here happens to be different. So we understand that the interatomic spacing along this direction is different from what is here along this direction, which gives me that they may have different properties in these two directions, or anisotropy may be available to us at the unit cell level, or I will say at a micro level. Overall, metals may behave like isotropic material, we will see that why does that happen. So what we are referring to here is that at the unit cell level or at the crystal level, the metals or the materials that we are referring to, which are crystalline in nature, they are actually anisotropic in behavior. They have different properties in different directions. But overall, when you talk about engineering materials like steel or aluminium or copper, we understand that these materials are not anisotropic materials. These materials are actually referred to as isotropic materials. So there is a contradiction here. So this isotropy here is at the macro level, whereas the anisotropy that we are referring to here is at the micro level. So we will see that what is the reason for that. That on a smaller scale they are anisotropic, whereas on a larger scale they happen to be isotropic materials. Okay, let's move forward. So going forward, this is a graphical representation of what we have already referred to. I will come back to the HCP arrangement, of, or would say HCP crystal lattice here separately. Right now we are only referring to this FCC, where we are observed here that what is the ABC sequence that you observe there. Okay, this is another representation of the same FCC or CCP system, where we already have shown that these is how the planes ABC are arranged. Okay, now this is now coming to some more descriptors about the FCC crystal structure. We understand that I am interested about one relation which is of importance to me, that I want to have a relationship between A, which happens to be the lattice constant, or the edge length of the cube in this cubic system, the edge length of the cube, or also known as the lattice constant to be more specific, and R, which happens to be the radius of the atoms. So we want to have this relationship, which will be useful to us in some further calculation and for some of the further understanding here. It's very simple to get that relation here. We understand that here it is nothing but the atoms are touching along the phase diagonals, and that is why simply writing expression a square plus a square is equal to 4r square gives me the relationship between A and R. And please keep it note of this, that it is an important one, 2 root 2 into R. So it's an important one, the relationship between the lattice constant and the radius of atoms in the case of FCC crystal system happens to be 2 root 2 R. Accordingly, you can calculate the volume of the unit cell here. We may use this calculation of the unit cell volume for our calculation about AFP, that is APF, which we call as the atomic packing factor. So we will see that how this thing helps us in understanding in one example which I'll take up today. So we see that what is atomic packing factor, if you recall, happens to be nothing but the ratio of the volume occupied by the atoms in the unit cell to the total volume of the unit cell. So it's just a ratio. Obviously the APF happens to be less than 1 because there are voids that you can observe here, that the unit cell is not 100% packed with atoms. So there are voids, there are empty spaces here. Because of that, the APF will be actually less than 1. For FCC system, which happens to be actually 0.74. Let's move forward to our next discussion, that is on BCC system. So the same calculation can be done for a BCC system. I am again more interested about this relation, which we say is the relationship between the lattice constant A, or the edge length of the cube A, and the radius of the atoms of which the unit cell we are referring to. So this R value will be different for if it is a iron unit cell, or if it is a copper unit cell, or whatever the material is, the radius of the atom will be different. A happens to be here again. Now the atoms are touching along the body diagonal, and that is why we now write here that 4R here is nothing but root 3A equal to the body diagonal of this cube, and that is why A happens to be 4 upon root 3 into R. Or now you can actually calculate the atomic packing factor for BCC, which happens to be 0.68. By same calculations, the volume occupied by the unit cell, the volume occupied by the atoms, that is 2 is the number of atoms into the volume of one atom to that of the volume of the unit cell. Why we will need it? The next slide will make it clear. We will make use of these calculations here. Okay, so this is an interesting observation that now somebody may say that we are actually referring to FCC, BCC or other crystal systems and crystal structures. What is the significance of this understanding, and where does it help us in to understand the behavior of materials as such? All of us know that iron undergoes allotropic transformation at 912 degrees centigrade. What do you mean by that? That the crystal structure of iron, pure iron, changes when you heat it beyond 912 degrees, pure iron. So what happens to the crystal structure? So at room temperature, iron happens to have a BCC crystal structure, and we are saying that the atomic radius of iron happens to be 0.12584 nanometers. When you heat it beyond 912 degrees, the allotropic transformation takes place, and now it then takes the form of an FCC crystal structure. So you go from a BCC structure to an FCC structure. And we are saying that, okay, because of providing heat to the system, the atomic radius also undergoes a slight change. Now, in certain textbooks, you'll find that they are assuming that the change in the radius of atoms is too small, and you may neglect that. But we are taking it into consideration that, okay, this is going to also affect something. Okay, what we are saying here, that from a BCC crystal system, this BCC crystal structure, the iron is now transforming into an FCC crystal structure. What will happen to the physical properties of iron? So what happens to the physical properties of iron because of this transformation? The property I'm referring to right now may be, let us say, the density. That what happens to the density of iron? Does density of iron change when it undergoes an allotropic transformation? If it changes, whether it increases or decreases, how do you know that? So we can very simply know this by our understanding of the previous two slides where we refer to there is BCC and FCC crystal structures. We understand now that I have a relationship for A. If you recall from the last slide, we said that, okay, the A in the case of, or A happens to be the lattice constant. The lattice constant in the case of a BCC system happens to be 4 by root 3 into R, and the lattice constant for an FCC structure happens to be 2 root 2 into R. Further, what we understand now is that the number of atoms in a single unit cell of BCC happens to be 2, so N is equal to 2 here, and the number of atoms in the case of an FCC unit cell N happens to be 4. So this is also a difference. But keep it in mind that when you are taking a unit volume or a unit, when you are taking a unit mass of iron, the number of atoms, when you are heating it up, they are not changing. So the number of atoms remain constant. Only thing that is happening is that because of this allotropic transformation, there is a redistribution. There is a redistribution of atoms within the material. So they shift their positions from this particular crystal structure to a different crystal structure. And we understand the number of atoms are different. Second thing we know now is that the APF for BCC happens to be 0.68 and APF for FCC happens to be 0.74. So the packing factor also is different. So what is the significance of this? What is the influence of this? So let's go forward. We understand that if you want to calculate the volume of the unit cell, you can calculate first the values of A. So A value, that is constant for BCC, can be calculated from this formula, 4 upon root 3 into R. and it comes to 0.291 nanometers. And A value for FCC can be calculated using this second formulation, and it comes to 0.361 nanometer. So the lattice constant is different. Now you can calculate the volume of the unit cell, so which is nothing but A cube. So the volume of the unit cell now happens to be 0.2464 for BCC crystal structure and 0.4704 for FCC crystal structure. So what we are seeing is that the unit cell of BCC is larger than the unit cell of FCC crystal structure happens to be larger than the unit cell of the BCC crystal structures. But keep it also in mind that the number of atoms are also different. This unit cell volume actually it contains only 2 atoms, whereas this one contains 4 atoms. So the number of atoms, as we understand, is different in both these two cases. The total number of atoms remains constant, but the atoms are now readjusted, and if you now calculate one term called as volume occupied per atom for these two crystal structures, we understand that volume occupied by the BCC happens to be 0.1232 nanometer cube, and for FCC per atom is 0.1176 nanometer cube. So what has happened? The volume occupied by an individual atom happens to be less in the case of your FCC crystal system, FCC crystal structure. A BCC one happens to have a larger volume occupied per atom, which tells me that what will happen to the volume. Let's come to the density later, but let us see what happens to the volume here. That what will happen to the volume of iron. So the volume of iron on undergoing this BCC to FCC transformation, what happens to this? Whether it will increase or whether it will decrease. So this calculation tells me that the volume of iron when it undergoes a BCC to FCC transformation actually decreases. So the volume goes less because one reason, FCC system is more closely packed. Second reason, the number of atoms in the unit cell of FCC is 4, whereas for BCC it was 2. So it causes a decrease in volume. And so what happens to the density then? So if the volume decreases, then what we can say about the density then? If we say that the volume is decreasing and density happens to be mass per unit volume. So if volume is reduced, this simple formulation tells me that the density of iron after undergoing an allotropic transformation from BCC to FCC will increase. And you can find out in the literature that the density of iron increases once it undergoes this transformation. This transformation from BCC to FCC is very important from metallurgical point of view, and many people we as scientists are interested to know that when this transformation is increasing. As I said, for pure iron this happens at 912 degrees, but as you alloy iron with carbon you form steel. That will come later on in our discussion, but or other alloying elements, it influences this transformation temperature. So the transformation temperature does not remain 912 if you alloy iron. So if it's a pure iron, it is 912 degrees, but if it is iron is alloyed with some other elements, like you create a carbon iron alloy of steel, or you add other elements like manganese into that, what happens is that this influences this temperature from 912 it may increase or it may decrease. Now how do you know that what is the transformation temperature? Physically, are we able to measure that? We can, because I understand that once this transformation is taking, something is happening to the volume. So the volume of the iron is decreasing. So what you do, we have an instrument which is called as a dilatometer. So what it does, this dilatometer measures dilatation. So dilatation is change in volume. So what we do, we take a sample which has a measured volume. We take a sample which has a measured volume and we put it into a dilatometer, start heating it. Once this transformation starts happening, you will find a decrease in volume. We keep on measuring the change in volume. It's a very precise instrument because the volume change we are saying is very, very less. Actually, when you calculate it, you will see that the volume reduction happens to be nearly 4%. So we can then see that the temperature at which this volume starts decreasing when on heating iron or an alloy of iron and carbon, that is the start of this transformation from BCC to FCC. And somewhere after, it takes some time to do that, and after that you will find that the transformation is complete. So the transformation starting temperature and the transformation completion temperature, they are not same in the case of alloys. We can actually measure that with the help of what we know as a instrument called as dilatometer. So this example basically tells me the importance of understanding the crystal structures and the other terms associated with the crystal structures that we have been referring to in my last class. Okay, so we will continue in our next video on some other aspects of crystal structures. Thank you.